my battle with bulimia. You know, the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment that once I was in it, I dealt with. I was trying to hide it from everybody. Man. You know, sometimes you just feel like there's no way out. The little things that became habits that began to consume me. You don't anticipate constantly getting on the scale, standing in front of the mirror. The one thing that I did a lot was always check my wrists. And if my wrists could touch and how far up it could touch, I felt like I was skinnier. I felt like it's where I wanted to be. Just those little things that maybe people don't know that some of us battle with. Even being a guy, eating disorders, you think, or just young ladies or models, or they're anorexic, but here I am, a dude eating and puking. I guess they called that in bulimia, binging and purging. When I was 18 years old, I was going to the Army, and I was already a broken young man. I was already, dealing with self-worth and value. I got picked on a lot in high school and called names, and I'm battling with drugs and with alcohol. And I was already at the Army, not because that was really like my dream. I went to the Army at 18 because, all of the brokenness from my past, that was kind of like my only option. The drugs and the alcohol could consume me, and I started stealing from family and friends to feed my addiction of drugs and alcohol. And I found myself in the Army, and I was this heavy kid. I was probably 40 pounds over what I thought weight I should have been. And I remember when I first got there, and I'm getting to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and the drill sergeants are yelling at us. Those first couple days of just trying to figure out what basic training was, I had developed in my mind that I wanted to come back after basic training, when I got to come back to Indiana and see old friends and family, a transformed person. Not only did I want to prove to them that I didn't need drugs and alcohol anymore, and that I had changed and I wasn't a thief, that I also looked different. And I wanted to come back losing that 30 or 40 pounds of weight. And so what happened is the drill sergeants, they said, if you see any of your other privates, the other men around us, if you see any of them not eating or puking, let us know. And that was the first time that I ever even really think about eating and puking to lose weight, or an eating disorder, or using any of the eating disorder things that they do to lose weight. And so, I had heard about bulimia before, and I had heard people telling me the dangers of it, but I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. I just thought, what? Maybe that's the corner I should cut. If I really want to come back changed and a different person, I can just begin to, I'll eat at the chow times, and then I'll just puke. And with all the physical activity that we were doing, I was just going to lose a ton of weight. I didn't think that it could grab a hold of me in such an addictive way, where it wasn't just the physical, but it was the mental. Like, I didn't think I would get to a point, like mentally, when I ate, if I didn't puke, I was going to freak out. But that's what did develop, but I didn't think about that at the beginning. And next thing you know, I'm eating and puking after every meal. Originally, I was only going to do it a couple times a day, once every other day. only when I felt like I ate too much. Next thing you know, though, I'm eating and puking every time I eat a meal. Not only was there that guilt and that shame, but then all the secrecy, all of me trying to hide it from people around me. I was in boot camp when it started, and so when I would eat and then have to go and puke, I couldn't just go to the bathroom and puke because the other soldiers would hear me, even if I turned on the water and do all of those things. So I used to sneak down out of the dorm quickly and go around the corner somewhere behind this tree and look around and then puke. And so now I'm beginning to analyze, how can I be more efficient in eating and puking? It's the craziest thing ever when I think about it. And this was just my battle for 5 years. Battling bulimia took on a whole nother realm of consuming me. Long story short, the Army thing got cut short for some other dumb choices that I made. But when I got home and I was out of the Army, I was a full-blown bulimic. And when I was home living with my family, I tried to hide it from them, and I would sneak to the bathroom, and I could close the door, and I would turn on the water. Always in your mind battling, when you come out of that bathroom, does my mom just know that I puked? Or does my sister just know that I puked? This battle is real, and it consumes us, and it can just break you down. And that's just from the mental side of it. Just all of the mental exhaustion of being somebody who battles with bulimia in the middle of it. The guilt and the shame and the embarrassment, because you don't think anyone knows, but do they know? And it's embarrassing, and throw in the fact that I'm a guy and here I am battling bulimia. For 5 years that went on, and I had lost the weight, and I was really looking pretty rough and cheeks sunken, and I just looked unhealthy. And I had lost all the weight that I wanted to lose, but I couldn't stop. It wasn't just the physical, it was the mental. I remember when I realized that I had a problem, that I knew this was serious and I couldn't stop even though I wanted to stop. And when I realized that I really had a problem, then I needed to start talking to people about it. It was hard. And it wasn't as simple as just stopping. It wasn't as simple as just quitting it, because mentally it had embedded itself into me. It was almost like this mental, not just an eating disorder, it was like a mental disorder. My brain had gotten wired in a way that thought every time I ate I needed to puke. I needed to hide it. And I was always fat, even if I wasn't fat, and I was in shape. It was crazy. But the good news is we can recover. People can change and overcome. And this doesn't have to be your forever. You, if this is your life and you've battled with the same things on some scale that I'm talking about, you can fully know that you can defeat, beat, and overcome this thing called an eating disorder and live a healthy, productive life. I love you guys. Don't give up. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. You're not alone.